Hi guys, this is Julia from Just One More Card, and today I have a fun coloring video for you featuring stamps by Purple Onion Designs and coloring with my Prismacolor pencils actually. I've prepared a craft card base, or actually this is just a piece of craft cardstock that I've prepared, and I'm going to be using my Stamp-A-Magic and a clear acrylic block to help me place my rubber stamps perfectly. I'm inking the stamps up with my favorite Things Black Licorice Hybrid ink. This ink works great with colored pencils, with alcohol markers, watercolor pencils, whatever. And I'm stamping the image onto this acetate right here, this piece of acetate, that you can clean off and reuse, of course. Now I'm figuring out where I want to place this image, and then I'm sliding the positioner back in right there so that the acetate sheet is exactly in the corner of the positioner. And I'm inking up my stamp again. Now, you haven't moved the stamp on the acrylic block, and you slide the acrylic block back into the nook here of the positioner as you did before when you stamped on the acetate, and that allows you to place your stamps exactly where they need to go. And of course I'm repeating this with all the other stamps I did. And I actually tried this out before I started filming the video because I'm doing a lot of masking and positioning, and I wanted to figure out how to do that. I'm using different stamps or stamps from different sets, and they're of course all listed in the video description below or on my blog. And you can see me here apply masks. Masks are basically, it's like sticky paper. I'm using the Inkadinka masking paper because I like that best. It's slightly sticky to one side, and you place that masking paper on top of a stamped image, and then you stamp another image, and all this does is once you peel the masking off, it appears, for example, then as if the bunny is behind the cocktail glasses. You will see that once I have the big reveal after I've done all my stamping, which is now magically, through the magic of video, I'm done with all my stamping. I use the same method all the time, so you didn't really miss anything out there. So now I'm removing my masks here, and you can see how it looks. How I have the critters partly obscured by the cocktails, or the cocktails partly obscured by the critters, and this is my stamped scene. Now for the coloring, I'm using Polychromos pencils. Prismacolor pencils, sorry. Prismacolor pencils are wax-based pencils, and Polychromos pencils are oil-based pencils. Yes, that's the right way. But they work pretty much the same on craft cardstock or on other surfaces. It's just that the blending is a little bit different, and the Prismacolors that I'm using today are a little softer than Polychromos because the Prismas are wax-based, so that's a very soft medium. But the principle is still the same. I'm working in layers, and my goal for this card was actually to have lots of bright colors, lots of bright spots, so that's why I give a lot of the critters a very light colored fur, to make sure that the white is really standing out against the craft cardstock. Now I'm also throwing in a few Polychromos pencils. For example, the grays here are Polychromos pencils. You can mix and match Prismas and Polys as you wish. That's not a problem at all, as you can see here, what I'm doing here. Now I'm going to proceed to color in the entire card with the same principle. First I put down a very light layer of color just to give me an idea where shadows and highlights are going to be, and then I'm coming in with more pressure on subsequent layers to intensify the color. And usually I have between 3 to 7 layers of color, and I can recommend to only press down hard with your pencils once you have the first layers, plural, of color down, because if you press down hard immediately, your cardstock won't be able to absorb as much of the color because you've already flattened out all the structure. So I'm going to play some music for you and let you watch the rest of the coloring process, and then catch you again when I put the card together. If you have any questions about this coloring process, leave me a comment. I'll try to answer that. And if you want to learn more about how to color with colored pencils, I can recommend the coloring classes by KIT CLOWDER. There's going to be a link either in the video description below or on my blog. because that's where I learned my coloring skills. I'm still taking their classes because I'm still far from being done now. You know, I haven't learned all the things that are to learn, and therefore I can only invite you to check those classes out yourself. And now we're done with the coloring and it's time for the sentiment. And I'm using the same principle for the sentiment that I used for the rest of the stamps. I am positioning the Stamp-A-Magic and then stamping the sentiment. I just wanted to make sure it's really not crooked and it's somewhat centered. So that's why I used the Stamp-A-Magic there as well. I'm using a white gel pen to add a few highlights here and there, just like, you know, like as if the cocktails are fizzy, or like champagne when it tickles you in the nose. That's the look I was going for here when I added the highlights. And of course I had to use my Stardust gel pen just for some additional glitter, because I just love the effect that the Stardust gel pen gives me. So here's a close-up. You can see that I enhanced the eyes of my critters with a black glaze pen, because when you go over them, especially with these wax-based pencils, you mute the underlying color quite a bit. And I did the same here on the bunny and the penguin. The bunny looks a little weird, but you know, it's the thought that counts, right? I also added a little bit of the purple into the green glass to indicate that you could see the bunny's head through that. And so here's the entire card. I hope you enjoyed this coloring video. If you liked this video, please leave me a thumbs up, a comment, or subscribe to my channel. I promise there's a lot more awesome videos to come. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.